Eerie Rock Manor resided at the end of a long, meandering road, its silhouette a jagged shadow against the afternoon sky. The family had been drawn to it, enchanted by the promise of seclusion and adventure. The listing had boasted of a week-long retreat, a place where they could reconnect and explore the historical home and vast forest around it. As they stepped inside, a chill washed over them, creeping into their bones despite the warm afternoon air. The air was thick with dust and an unsettling silence. It smelled of mildew, as if the house itself had been holding its breath for years. Sarah hesitated at the threshold, but her husband Jackson brushed past her with a laugh. "It just needs a little love," he said, trying to dispel the unease that settled over them. Their two children, Lily and Ben, darted ahead, their excitement echoing in the empty halls. The first night was uneventful, save for the whispers that crept through the walls, a low, sinister murmur that seemed to curl around the family as they slept. Each member of the Hartman family dismissed it as a figment of imagination, a trick of an old house. But the next morning, they awoke to an unsettling atmosphere. The sunlight filtered through the old windows, but it felt muted, as if the house absorbed the light and joy. While Jackson prepared breakfast, Sarah explored the rooms, her heart racing as she entered an ornate parlor. The wallpaper, faded and peeling, revealed glimpses of faces trapped within the patterns, their expressions twisted in silent screams. Sarah stood staring at the wall, entranced by the contorting patterns. "Are you okay, Mom?" Lily's voice broke her reverie, and Sarah quickly turned away, forcing a smile. Just admiring the decor," she said, but unease gnawed at her. It was as if the house watched them, its very walls pulsating with a consciousness that delighted in their discomfort. As the day progressed, the house began its psychological torment. Strange occurrences unfolded. Doors creaked open when no one was there. Shadows danced in the corners of their vision. Temperatures fluctuated. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, each syllable a caress that sent shivers down their spines. Each whisper disregarded as just a drafty window, a loose pipe, an old house settling, or a child's overactive imagination. By the third day, the family members were on edge. Jackson found himself drawn to the basement, a place of secrets and dust. He spent hours down there losing time, combing through old furniture and forgotten relics, but each time he ventured back upstairs, he brought with him an inexplicable sense of dread. The house whispered to him, feeding on his insecurities, reminding him of his failures. Meanwhile, Sarah grew increasingly agitated, trapped in a cycle of anxiety and despair. The attic called to her, filled with relics of the past, a place where time seemed suspended. Among the cobwebs, she discovered an old journal belonging to a previous occupant. Its pages were filled with bizarre sketches and frantic scrawls about the house's power and its insatiable hunger for despair. "It feeds on your fear," one entry read. "There is no escape," read another. Lily and Ben, sensing the growing tension, withdrew into their own worlds. The house manipulated their emotions, pitting them against each other. They argued over trivial matters, each confrontation escalating into a full-blown fight, echoing through the walls, providing noise and bitterness to the quiet hallways. Each family member felt the house pressing in around them, a suffocating presence that refused to let them leave. Sarah knew they had to leave after finding the journal, the atmosphere becoming more oppressive as the day lingered on. They tried to leave, but the doors wouldn't budge. It felt as if the walls were closing in, and the air was thick with anticipation for what came next. Night fell as Jackson tried to get any door or window open. The house grew restless. It whispered secrets, dragging their insecurities into the open. Sarah and Jackson found themselves in a heated argument, with Sarah bringing up details from their past. The house fed on their feelings, the walls reverberating with the intensity of their words, the house relishing the discord. Jackson retaliated, unleashing pent-up frustrations, and with every scream the house seemed to swell with satisfaction. Lily and Ben, frightened by their parents' confrontation, retreated to their rooms. They huddled together, whispering fears in the dark, but the house eavesdropped, twisting their innocent worries into nightmares. It spoke to them through the walls, filling their minds with visions of abandonment, of being trapped here, of monsters pulling them into the depths forever. That night, Sarah, desperate for release, decided to confront the house. She stood in the parlor where the whispers were the loudest and shouted, "We're not afraid of you!" But the house responded with a chilling shudder that reverberated. The walls began to thrum, shadows swirled around like a tempest. "You will all die here," the whisper came. The children, drawn by their mother's defiance, crept down the stairs. "Mom?" Lily's voice trembled, but the house seized the opportunity, planting seeds of doubt. "You're all alone," the house said quietly. "Stay away," Sarah cried, but it was too late. The shadows enveloped Lily and Ben, tugging at their fears, feeding on their anxiety. The house had them. Jackson, witnessing the horror unfold, rushed to his family, but the darkness coiled around him, whispering his failures again. In that moment, reality shattered. The family crumbled under the weight of their fears, torn apart by the house's evil. They fought to hold on to each other, but the walls pulsed with energy, pulling them into its depths. Time lost all meaning, the sun and moon trapped in an eternal cycle above Eerie Rock Manor. The family felt the weight of despair coiling around them, the air thick with sorrow and anger. Unable to leave the house, they became shells of themselves. Days turned into weeks within the confines of Eerie Rock Manor, though no one could measure time anymore. No one ever came to the house as if it existed outside of time itself. The Hartman family existed in a loop of torment, forever haunted by the house that relished in their pain. They would never escape, forever trapped within its sinister embrace, their screams echoing into the empty halls. A haunting melody for the malevolent entity that thrived on their despair. They would never let them leave until it consumed them entirely.